Well, something now that we talk a lot about here, the importance of self-care and the connection between wellness and physical health. Our next guest was diagnosed with a borderline personality disorder and has since made it his mission to educate others and to help break the stigma surrounding mental illness. Following his incredible 13-year NFL career, he is now bringing a holistic approach to the masses through his lifestyle brand, House of Athlete. Joining us now is former NFL superstar, mental health advocate, and sports TV personality Brandon Marshall. Brandon, thank you so much for being with us. We're going to start with what we have to start with, because last night maybe there was a little football on TV. Tell me what you thought.
Look, last night we could talk about a lot of things. We could talk about Tom Brady being 43 years of age. We could talk about the referees. We could talk about the halftime performance. There's so much we can talk about. But that game came down to Todd Bowles and that defense. They were lights out. I said it leading into this game. If they were able to rush 4 and get pressure on Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady plays clean and don't throw a pick, they were going to win that game, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, no, it was pretty remarkable to watch. And I know we've been watching you over the years, and I want to hear about House of Athlete. Tell me about the brand, how it started, what you hope to do with it.
Well, it goes back to when I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, and I found myself at McLean Hospital, and this whole wellness journey started then. It was more about impairment and how to get out of dealing with anxiety and depression, and it led me on this journey of performance. All it is athletes are the healthiest people on the planet, and more people should train like us. That's what it is, adopt our lifestyle. When I study the top athletes like the Tom Brady's of the world, look at him last night. How are you 43 years of age and still playing at a high level? One, because he trains, he moves. We were built and created to move, not to sit on the couch and eat popcorn all day. You can do that every once in a while, but not all the time. The second thing is fuel correctly. Do we understand macronutrients and micros and supplementation? The third is being mentally fit. The top athletes in the world are mentally fit. They're able to perform on one end of the spectrum and get more out of their brain, get more out of their bodies. But on the other end of the spectrum, they have a plan when it comes to anxiety and depression. The fourth is recovery. You got to understand your body.
Yeah, I love everything you just said, because I've been trying to live my life that way over the last several years, and it makes a huge difference. And I love what you're doing with this information. You just recently founded the Fuel the Frontlines to help healthcare workers recover the way athletes do. Tell us what you hope to achieve.
Yeah, well, look, going into the pandemic, the medical field was already understaffed and overworked. So now we're asking our caregivers that's fighting this global pandemic, COVID-19, to stand on their feet for 14, 15, 16 hours. Like, they were dropping left and right. So everyone at the time was trying to figure out, how do we get more help to the front line? And the first thing that came to my mind was, well, how do we get them to recover more, right? Like, we can get all the masks, all the ventilators we want to these hospitals, but if we don't have caregivers standing at the end of the day or the next day or, the next month, then we're going to lose this fight. So a couple of us, AJ Bouye from the Denver Broncos, Ashton Harris, Ali Krieger, Julius Peppers, you had Nnamdi Asomugha, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and a couple other athletes came together and said, we're going to put recovery rooms in hospitals. So one, working with Theragun and trying to pump out the lactic acid from their feet to their ankles to their calf muscles so they can stand throughout the day and the next day to be able to fight this pandemic. And the second thing was nutrition. Like, nutrition was big. How do we get more food to our hospitals? How do we get supplements to our caregivers? That's important. 70% of what we do from a recovery standpoint starts with nutrition and also supplementation. So that is essentially Fuel the Frontline, was getting the caregivers in the middle of the pandemic to recover like athletes.
Wow, what a superstar you are. Of course, not just on the field, but off the field. Everything you've done, you do what Robin Roberts' mama told her to do, to make your mess your message, and that's exactly what you're doing. So, Brandon, thank you so much for being with us today, for sharing your story to help other people, to taking that stigma away from mental illness and putting the power back in the person. So, Brandon, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.